nothing but a big hallway filled with floating enemies shaped like human hearts. They're anticipating of causing damage. So what you do is run through the level, smashing as many as you can to get all the power-ups. One run through these levels and would get the life meter back to full, just like that. And I would generally appreciate these levels later. The Heart Temple's music reminded me of a circus tune. It had an overly cheerful sound to it, which gave the level a really weird feeling. Having seen all the level types, I chose to fight Godzilla using Solo Man. The music for this fight was Godzilla's theme. It was turning this fight. I realized that Solomon is overpowered. A single well-animated slash can take down as many as 4 enemies as life bars. Due to this, the fight was over very quickly. Gunners had no projectile attacks or anything else that could match Suma's deadly claws. But I kept the fight going just long enough to see if Gunners would use his icon, Kangaroo Kick, and I was greatly pleased when he did. Even though I knew Simon was my fighting ace, I used Godzilla to battle Kanga. Just for today, I briefly considered using Martha, but of course Godzilla won out. Kangu was also a simple opponent, no heat beams or anything. He attacks by jumping on you, stabbing you with his muzzles, and also using his signature webbing steam to praise you. Once you get webbed, Kangu will sometimes take the opportunity to attack, but it's mostly a way to buy some time, like Gizo backing you in the corner until the time runs out. His music was Hano's theme. With Gurus and Kamdus defeated, I was at the end of Exus. Before I fought Nat, there was something I had to do. I wasn't expecting much from it, but for document's sake, I looked at the other TV screen. This is what it was. I don't think there ever was much reason behind the TV screens. If I were to guess, I'd say it's something random, uncontrolling manifestations of the cartridge's abilities. Or maybe all this makes perfect sense to the game. Who knows? Anyway, Mr. Fletcher's theme was Santa's music. It was time for the opponent I had been dreading. Not raw, although I had gained courage with Solman's combat advantage. I was still nervous, and when I started the fight, I was immediately confused. My opponent was not Griza. I defeated the imposter with a few strikes, and then Nat Morga appeared. Then it made sense. In order to get to Nagorda, I had to battle all the previous replacements first, and battle them I did. I tore my way through them until I finally made it to Nagorda, who was adored.
Really?
Yeah. Once I stopped laughing, I destroyed him with only 2 slashes. The music stopped, and I thought I was going back to the board, but the battle wasn't over. The real fight was against Juma, a monstrous hybrid of all the replacement beasts. This was by far the most difficult boss yet. Every attack would cut down whole life bars per use, while attacks against him were gently weakens. Slash, for example, was now lucky to take away one half a life bar. During the battle, I operation for two things: the boss fight time limit and the heart template. Had it not been for those things, I might never have beaten this boss to take down the behemoth. I came up with a strategy. I would switch between Godzilla and Snowman as one began to get dangerously low on health. I would take him through the heat temple while fighting Chima with the other. I should count my blessings that Chima couldn't regain lost health. A very interesting thing about Chima was that the colored sections of his body corresponded to his different body parts. So each body part affected it had its own life meter, that the hard head was invisible as long as the other parts were present, and we would always the last part to be destroyed. In addition to being difficult, it was also the longest fight so far. I tell you, many times I got taken out by the fight by the timer. But I lost count around 13. Eventually, I had destroyed all combos but the head, which now flew around on its own incredible speed. Chima fought well, but I was extremely determined, and this one was reduced to his head. He no longer had the power to defeat Snowman, and I heat beamed him to oblivion. And then Chima was no more. I was exhausted after that drawn-out fight and worried that might affect my performance in the end-world chase level. The headquarters icon was replaced by not the Hell Beast face. Instead, it was a Kratos. I was completely stunned. I wasn't excited about seeing the Hell Beast icon again, but if there was only one good thing about those levels, it's that they were predictable. I had a basic idea of what to expect, but now here I was at the end and the icon was completely different. What did it mean? And why a prefix? It made me very uneasy. I attempted to start the level with Snowman, but I couldn't. I got the notice that simply start Snowman. I can't enter here. I didn't say why, but I think maybe it has to do with Snowman's demonic appearance, since Snowman was out of the question. I went to Godzilla's instead. So once I saw the level, graphics made sense. The level was a graveyard. I was still on edge, thinking this was some kind of trick. The last level has always involved running from the demonic beast, and I wasn't going to be fooled into thinking this would be any different. So I started out running, but after a minute, without interruption, I slowed down. It was during this time that the music caught my attention. I knew it sounded familiar when I first heard it, but it took me a while before I realized what it was. An 8-bit lyrics of Prayer for Peace from the first Godzilla film. A very sad, powerful song, even in this form. At 2 minutes into the level, I encountered something that I wasn't sure how to react to. My first incident was to run, but the blue stick place, and I felt completely just to stare at it for a time. Since this was a grave and it was floating over a chapel, I guess that this was some kind of angel watching over the destination. It gave me a strange but warm feeling. I wouldn't say happy, but I felt that it was at peace. And somehow I had never seen this being before. Yet it seemed very familiar to me. Just as I was going to leave, the hell beast appeared, and its presence warped the music into a terrifying discounter, screeching and transforming the level, diffusing the storm heads as a new ground appeared, covering the blood-soaked bodies. I could now feel my heart beating out of control. I had no chance of escaping with the monster that close. It lunged for the kill, but the angel got in its way. The demon roared and started clawing through Angel's leg, and tears of blood streamed from its eyes. I wanted to save Angel, but there was nothing I could do. I had to honor its sacrifice and run, and so I ran through the hellish landscape as fast as I could. The beast soon caught up with me, still swallowing the body of the angel, whose legs is torn off. And this sight made my terror change into anger. I now found myself hating this horrible monster. There was no doubt in my mind that it was pure evil, and I wanted to die. When I got to the end, I remembered how it responded to my insult and praise. I spoke to it. It said, "You're going to pay." This was its response. I had no idea how I would follow up on that threat, and there was nothing I could do to prevent me from the honors of the final world, Zenith.